Hello, beautiful family. It's Nicole here with Tuesday transmissions or Transmission Tuesdays. And I skipped last week because I was doing some traveling and I'm going to be traveling next week. So I might do it next week, but wanted to tune in this week because there's a lot coming up in the field. And I made the theme today boundaries and people pleasing and personal responsibility. It is cold here today. And I made it that theme because it's coming up over and over. It came up yesterday with a client, it came up this morning with a client, it came up in a group that I'm in, and I thought it would be a great conversation piece today. And then we can do the light transmission around boundaries and see what comes through. So, if you join, and when you join, hi Jenny, feel free to comment at any time. I would love this to be a conversation. So, boundaries, right? Do we have them or not? So what's coming up that I've been thinking about and feeling a lot lately is, especially with women and especially with mothers too, and this is where it's coming up the most, is really understanding the woman and the woman in relationship to the man, the masculine. I went to low power mode, so hopefully we are going to be fine with the phone, but in relationship to the masculine and in terms of our society, and really understanding the old paradigm and the structure of masculine, feminine, and roles that we play. And where boundaries comes up, which is really interesting, especially with motherhood, is really our needs, right? Learning as women to express our needs. And we've had our needs suppressed for a really long time. If we had needs, we wouldn't express them because we were really scared to express them out of what might be the outcome of that. So there's a lot of fear that's wrapped up in boundaries. And I know personally for myself, if I need to say no to something, it's been a real practice of mine to say no, because often my role and the understanding of my role as a woman in life has always been to forfeit my own needs in terms of really caring as a caregiver and nurturing other people and giving. Now I know a lot of healers, a lot of you who are yoga teachers, healers, spiritual beings, and mothers really want to give. Like, our intention is to give and give with abundance because we love it. It's what we do. We do it well. And there's also the samskara, they call it in yoga, or the proclivity to really have a tendency to overgive, overstep our personal boundaries. And what that does for us is deplete us at a level, as most of us have experienced, that is, it's not good for our bodies, right? It depletes our energy so much that we actually can make ourselves sick, we can fall into depression, we can have overwhelm, anxiety, and fear. And then the egoic loop, which is so interesting to me, the role that the ego ends up playing, which I call the rescuer, is it gets in that loop and we overstep our personal responsibility, and then more fear comes in. And then the loop starts. We start controlling our environment based out of fear, and then the overwhelm feeds the fear, and it cycles through, and it kind of keeps us in this loop of overgiving and not receiving. I'll catch up later. Yes, I've got to run. I totally get that. So we begin to have this fear, and then we use control as a mechanism to continue in this loop. It's really fascinating. What rescuing does in your own relationships is it really enables. It's an enabler. It allows other people to not step into their own personal power. So it's disempowering to you because you're overstepping your personal responsibility, but it's also enabling the other person to be disempowered. So it's a kind of a catch-22. Each person is actually enabling disempowerment. Really, really interesting. The other cost of rescuing people is really not allowing them to have experiences that would bring them a teaching on their own path of the lessons that they're needing to learn, maybe through suffering. If we rob people of their experiences of suffering, that's robbing them of their human experience. And although we have a great intention to help and serve, it's not really serving them, because they may need to learn a lesson that they're not learning because you're basically doing it for them. So that's kind of interesting too. So overstepping our boundaries and suppressing our needs. So when we talk about boundaries, what we really want to learn internally is how to feel our yes, really, and how to feel our no. And this came up in a group that I was in yesterday, and I loved the concept of really learning to somatically feel that yes and that no. And I do muscle testing. Some of you may know muscle testing really well. And it's very similar. It's like really learning, like a no is a more contracted energy. It doesn't feel necessarily true. And a yes always feels really warm and juicy, and can put a smile on people's faces. There's an ecstatic kind of nature to a yes. And you want to be really clear on your yeses and your nos. Now, if you're unclear on your yeses and your nos, then maybe it's not time to make a decision yet, because it needs to be a clear boundary. So practicing boundaries is really about your own internal clarity, also in practicing internal clarity and like, what does that mean for you? And really feeling and stopping and taking the time. We can be very impulsive as a society to want to give an answer right away, right? We're being conditioned that everything is 24/7. I'm available 24/7. I can give an answer 24/7. I can give an answer right away. And we're not taking time to steep into what actually feels really good for us. So that's another way of really stepping into the concept of boundaries, giving your boundaries space, giving your yeses and nos space and time. And if you don't know an answer, giving yourself the time to tell somebody, you know what, I don't really know. I'm not getting a true yes or no or clarity on this, and I'd like to take my time to give you an answer until it feels clear. And that can be a really healthy boundary to offer yourself and to offer another person. And also putting time and context around things, like if somebody's reaching out to you to ask for something and you're not ready, just giving them a time frame. Like, I'll probably know within the next day, or check back in with me in the next 48 hours. Just giving a boundary or a context like that can help another person actually respect your boundaries as well. So what comes up also that I wrote a note about is, if we are overstepping our boundaries, if we are taking other people's responsibility and making it our own, over time, not only is that going to deplete your energy, but it's also going to build up a lot of resentments. So think about right now what resentments you're harboring, if there's any resentments that you're harboring in your life that you'd like to clear, because that's you probably, again, rescuing somebody else or being really loose with your boundaries, mixing information and not being clear. And what it also not only builds resentments, but it also builds a trust issue, meaning lack of trust in yourself, and it probably means you have lack of trust in another person. If you're controlling them or controlling their environment or people pleasing, you probably don't trust them, you probably don't trust yourself, and you may be doing the people pleasing because you're trying to prove something to yourself, maybe your own worth or your own value, and your sense of confidence is being built maybe externally. So really going in and noticing, what am I resenting and why? And how did I create that situation? And what is it in me that's in fear or lack of trust that's allowing myself, to take our own personal responsibility back, allowing myself to do this. So if you take back your own responsibility and you start to create those healthy boundaries, you will begin to trust yourself again. You'll be able to trust your intuition. And that's really a powerful practice of making intuitive decisions. So I wanted to bring that up too. So that's what's kind of been coming up in the field, is just the cost of rescuing, what it does, what it's about, personal responsibility, expressing our boundaries, and being really clear with ourselves. And tuning into our bodies. How are we feeling? And only creating a yes or a no when we are ready. And then learning how to express our needs. Really learning how to express our needs. When you learn how to express your needs, it serves you, and it really serves the other person. So that's kind of the recap. So that's what I was feeling today in the field, and I'd love to offer the healing transmission. And as we are coming out of this Aries full moon, inviting in the I am presence, inviting in strength, inviting in the leadership qualities within yourself, that revolutionary, so that you can hold space for yourself and be really strong in yourself, in your boundaries, in your leader. Okay, so let's see. I have different tools here. I've got my bowl, my drums, my shaker. I think we'll move into the shaker. And as you listen to all that information I just gave you, just taking that in and really closing the eyes and settling into your body. Today, connecting our feet deeply to the ground, to Pachamama. And calling forward any of those resentments, any of the ways that we suppress our voice, any of the lack of boundaries or lack of trust or fear that comes up in our own being, and calling that forward to be cleared, calling that forward to be cleared. And we'll use this transmission as an opportunity for healing and to change the story to, instead of people pleasing, instead of depletion, giving too much, to receiving, to allowing, to creating space for your own being, to have presence, energy, space, boundaries, protection, trust, support. And we'll invoke and invite in all of the spiritual allies, the benevolent beings, the galactic federations, all the light beings, all the connection to the cosmos for that support, and to release down to Pachamama and let the earth really take some of those energies out today. Let's take a deep breath in, release it out. Be in a space that feels comfortable for you, either lying down or sitting up. These transmissions are pretty short, but taking them in a relaxed manner in your body. Shanaira kama hukeraya nora Himayo puneyari shinaira hureya humera korea Hukerai na korea Kura kuraya kanina ukara Amarush penairara Ume akunira Me akusha naira hurai kaina Risho hinayo korea Moke akanira Lakaira konira Pero koni ataniya kaneya rokara Ome akurira Be akuwa kitari karira ya nahu Hairahu riyama Hutera kunira Deno yakari rano kuri hanai hariya kuratanara Ishtaroka Pero itara humaina hukeraya kureya uniyara Huriyana Neya humaina haira kariya tirahu Inetira Ano kukeraina Pero fantera yaka Nitarera nalara Ure amaronira Netore kanira Wanture atera Kurira inara Ure tairara Umeratarira Ukera maneha Terare kuria Pushkaraira rinaira Iro atinira Neraturira Nerakurina Just giving a lot of gratitude. Thank you for being here with your heart. Thank you for tuning in to your frequency, your vibration that may have needed this this teaching today, this transmission today around boundaries. And I'd love to offer seeing a whole field of light, maybe golden light around your body, an encasement like an egg, and filling your body up with that golden light, and also extending that light outside of your body just a few inches outside, maybe even a foot, and allowing yourself to be in your own personal space, your own encasement, and knowing that if you would like to help, that you invite people in and you're clear with the invitation so that this field is permeable if you invite the energy in. Or choose today to not allow other energies to penetrate that field and to just be in your own personal space. And that's so okay too. So okay. And you can certainly help people and be healthy in keeping your energy, right, to yourself. And you can still share your own personal space and energy, even if it doesn't penetrate that field. It's totally available to you. So thank you so much for listening, for vibing with me, for being here on Transmission Tuesdays. I love you, and I'm sending you so much healing, love, and energy. Thank you to all of our guides, all of the benevolent forces that are always with us. We thank you so much to Pachamama, to the Earth Mother, for taking some of those lower frequencies and bringing us back more deeply into our own space, into our own energy, and into our own field. Mwah. Namaste. Have a beautiful day.